Good morning. Who's in business here? Who is managing or owns a small business? Nobody. Oh, you. Okay. Sorry, I couldn't hear your name. Randy. Hi, Randy. Well, the rest of you might find this interesting anyway. This started out as a workshop. Took about 3 hours, and I don't feel that any of you has 3 hours to spend with me this morning. So if you take a look in the handout here, these are the 7 ways, and they're pretty basic. In the workshop, I pointed out you can't make people want what you've got, but once they want it, you can make them want it real badly. Today we're going to talk about talking to the right prospects. My example of offer relevance. If I walk into a car lot and say, I'm looking for a car because I'm going back to school this fall, and they immediately show me all of the economical cars for students, and the guy doesn't realize I'm 60 years old and I want to look good for the co-eds, he's not going to make the sale. Value is a real simple concept. It's how much you expected to pay divided by how much they're asking for whatever it is you're buying. If it's greater than 100, you're in great shape. Reputations, there's a lot of information on that. Just be aware that customers are looking you up online, and they're sometimes not liking what they see. Lowering the risk, offer guarantee, speeding up the process. My great example there was I had a picture of a clipper ship, and I said this was a Chinese laundry during the gold rush. They would actually pack up laundry and haul it to Shanghai to wash it and bring it back again. It's a 6-week round trip, which probably means by the time they got back, you're ready to have the clothes you're wearing washed too. But can you imagine the business that somebody would pick up if they just opened a laundry in like Sacramento at the time? Okay, today what I'd like to do is talk about number 2 on this list, and that is reaching the right customers or talking to them. Often, people will say, we've got to get people in the store, let's have a sale. Well, you can't just announce you have things for sale, you have to announce them at great prices to make it work. So, cutting price is the first thing we think of. And I think that is suicide, because cutting price does terrible things. If you are a typical retailer and you have a margin of about 33%, you cut the price by 10%, you now have to sell twice as much to get back to the same level of profitability. Ouch. Can you sell twice as much? Do you, by any chance, have half of your staff sitting around idle half the time? Are your delivery people saying, well, we're done with the deliveries for today, we'll just hang out here and drink some coffee? Is your bookkeeper completely caught up with all the invoices and the statements and applying payments? Or perhaps do they have other things to do? Can your suppliers double their production if you want to try to sell twice as much? And can they do it very quickly? And can they get it to you real quickly? Can you double your existing lines of credit to buy more from those suppliers? Is it possible that, I can't remember the next line. Are there twice as many customers who are standing on the sidelines saying, you know, I'd like to buy, but that last 10% is a deal breaker for me. And so they take themselves out of the market. And finally, do your competitors intend to sit there and let you drop price and take customers from them? All of these would indicate to me that this is not a real good strategy, especially when you realize that 16 out of 17 businesses in the U.S. do not make it past their 8th anniversary. That means that most of your competitors are going out of business slowly, and most of them are doing that because they're cutting price. You're never going to make up in volume what you give up in margin, and that's because margin is the whole game. So with that in mind, instead of talking about dropping price, let's talk about inviting people who are willing to pay our price to do business with us. This is a Rexel electrical wholesale supply company in Midland, Texas. They were doing about $3 million a year, and they were told, oh, there's a Lowe's breaking ground about a mile down the interstate and a Home Depot building about half a mile the other direction. And my partner, Mike Dandridge, was challenged with this one. He had a few problems in that every electrical wholesaler has pretty much the exact same inventory because it has to be standard to meet code and to make sure that everything will fit. And every electrician goes to the closest supply house because when he has to stop work at the job and go get something, he's now not being paid until he gets back. So they all tend to go to whichever one is closer, and Mike took on this project, and I'll tell you in a few minutes how that ended up. Those are the 7 ways. We've touched on them already. Anybody drive this vehicle? Nobody? This is a Hyundai Alliance. It is the least expensive production automobile in America. $10,704 suggested retail. I think we have just blown out of the water the only thing that people care about is price. Because as you can tell, none of us are buying it. The 80-20 rule, you're familiar with? 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of your customers, or 20% of your salespeople. You can take that one more step. 80% of the 80% will come from 20% of the 20%. And I'll tell you where this gets really interesting. Starbucks, $3.50 for coffee, typical, right? They also offer a $225 coffee maker. That's the 4% I'm telling you about that will buy that. And to make matters really, really strange, they have a $2,500 coffee maker that I guess chops and grates and does julienne and fries too. And they don't sell too many of them, but that's that 4% we're talking about. If you reach the right people and they love what you're doing, they will pay the premium. 2 ladies on the right, you've seen them come into your business every day of your life. They may not look exactly like that, but you've seen them and you will recognize them. They are Coupon Clippin' Carly and Loyal Linda. They are each representative of about half of your customers. I don't even care what you sell. About half will be either of these. Carly is a transactional shopper. She negotiates. She thinks negotiating is half of the fun of shopping. She comparison shops. She's everywhere. She knows every price in town. She knows everything that makes her comfortable to buy and is now swapping for features and benefits. Linda, on the other hand, doesn't know enough about what she's purchasing to feel comfortable, and what she's really looking for is an advisor. She wants to do business with somebody who will not take advantage of her. And we both tend to be both of these people, depending on what we shop for. And the right thing to say to one is exactly the wrong thing to say to the other. And you can imagine why. Because if I start talking price, Linda is going to say, wait a minute, I haven't decided I'm going to buy this. Why are you pressuring me? And if I address Linda and start talking about all the reasons that this would be right for her, Carly's going to say, would you just get to the bottom line? What is this going to cost? With that in mind, let's go shopping. Carly and her friends, you've seen them every day. They go from store to store, comparing prices. In this particular case, we're looking for something like an MP3 player. Pick a gadget, it doesn't matter, the concept is the same. She makes it around from Primo appliances to circuits and more, to us guys, to Cook's, PJ's, and she spends $69 because Cook set it for the lowest price. And then Tim makes the circuit, and he ends up going back to Cook's. And Charlie, I think Charlie goes to Primo appliances because it's on his way home and they match Cook's price. Bernie goes back to Cook's. And Pam also goes to Primo appliances. Now, interestingly enough, all of them went to all of the stores. And each of them bought only one time. 25 store visits, 5 sales. $19 average profit, their shopping price. Now we go take Linda's friends and go shopping with them. And you notice Linda goes directly to Circuits and More. Because they treat her right every time she's there. She's never found any reason not to buy from them. Ralph went to us guys. He likes the service manager. They've taken real good care of him in the past. We have Sherry, who also likes circuits and more. I think Sherry's kind of sweet on the sales guy. And Faye also likes us guys, and Dennis bought it at PJ's Emporium. Look, though, at the totals. 5 store visits, 5 purchases, average profit $41. This is where people get this idea that all customers care about is price. 83% of all of the salespeople talking to customers were talking to transactional customers. Of course they think that's all that matters. That's all they hear. More than 8 out of 10 times, can you match price? Can you give me a better deal on this? But it's the same half of the people, and the other half are not focused on that. And look what happens to closing ratios and profits. It is my contention that we need to speak to these people in our ads if those are the people we're looking for. This is my sleazy media rep, and I really need to replace him with somebody else. It was not my intention to make media look bad. I just grabbed this picture. But every media rep will tell you that he has a loyal audience. It's our loyal, attentive viewers or readers or listeners. And the truth is, we all have the same audiences. Whether you're... Anybody here listen to one radio station only, ever? Ever? Okay. Anybody watch only one TV station? And we all tend to hopscotch around for programs, right? And newspapers, and you don't look just at the billboards from one outdoor company. We all are exposed to all of these things to greater or lesser degree. And so, when somebody walks into a radio station, or the rep walks into his business and says, I want you to draw a crowd. I want you to put a lot of people in here because we're going to sell a couple of swimming pools. So they run this ad. The perfect day to buy the pool and spa of your dreams is this Saturday. Speak to the experts at our one-day sale event. See our custom 3D pool design system. Save up to $6,000 on the purchase of a new pool. Come celebrate with free hot dogs and soft drinks and prize giveaways and face painting for the kids and probably balloons. Who do you think came to this event? People who were there for the free hot dogs and the free Pepsis and the face painting and the prize drawings. And after those 200 people left this event and left trash all over the parking lot, half-eaten hot dogs and Pepsi cups, did they sell any pools? No. And I contend it is the fault of the ad. The people that they were talking to came for the offers that they were making. Imagine if they had done this instead. Are you thinking you'd like a pool in your own backyard? We know it's a major investment for a homeowner like you. That's why we brought in the experts to answer your questions in a casual, no-pressure setting. Bring your measurements, and on our custom 3D design system, we'll show you just what to expect, the costs of amenities, and your financing options. What we won't do is pressure you to buy. If 4 people show up from this ad, and one of them buys, I suspect the vendor will have a whole lot better time of it than 200 people eating his hot dogs and making a mess. It's not the medium that matters. It's the message that matters. And that's probably the one thought I want to plant in your mind today. If you've got the right message, you could use Rubik's Cubes with your name on them. You could have calendars, or you could do outdoor, or you could put inserts in the paper. It doesn't matter. The message matters. If you sell consumables or less expensive goods with short purchase cycles, like milk at my house, you probably will do better with a direct response ad that talks about price and item and says, come get this item at this price, get it today. Focus on immediate sales, use a call to action ad, tell people exactly what to do to get what you're selling, and offer an incentive if necessary. If, on the other hand, you sell durable goods that are more expensive and have longer purchase cycles, like the refrigerator I keep my milk in, you're probably going to do better off with a branding campaign. Focus on your image. Use what's called top-of-mind awareness. We just want you to know we're here when you're ready for us. And then wait until they're ready. They will think of you and they will like you, yes.
So speak to the madness of Black Friday, which is now Black Thursday, or yesterday, which is Cyber Monday, because, I mean, my inbox was, it was, I just hit the delete button, one after the other, one after the other.
This is the desperation necessary when you're competing on price. And I'm willing to bet every one of those things was a national company trying to get your business. And there weren't any local retailers making those offers.
Good bet.
Yeah. They have to compete with each other because they've got nothing unique. What is the difference between the things Walmart stocks and the things Best Buy stocks? And Sears has their own brands, but they're pretty comparable to Walmart and Best Buy. And the only thing that any of them can think of is, well, ours costs less. If you've got enough muscle to make it work, there's great advantage in going for a transactional customer. They're everywhere. They talk. You get phenomenal word of mouth because they all like bragging about the great deal they just got. Most of us can't compete that way because we just don't have enough volume, and we can't make up the volume.
Retailers are now competing against things like Amazon, which run 365, 365 days a year, 24 hours, that's a lot more competition than what they used to have. So.
It is. Amazon is another one of those transactional retailers. You go there and you shop price. One of the things that's hurting Best Buy is people will go there and look to see what they want, and they go shopping on Amazon and get it shipped to them in less than 48 hours. You can't keep score with sales volume unless your margins are intact. You've got to have the margin there. I promised to tell you what my partner Mike Dandridge did with that Rexel electric wholesaler. Mike is one of the most brilliant marketers I know. And he was faced with, you've got a $3 million store and we're just barely hanging in there and you need to do something. He put in a Senseo coffee maker and stocked every flavor of coffee he could think of. And he said it kind of tickled him every time one of these grizzled old electricians would come in out of the field, get his tool belt hung a little low, t-shirt a little dirty, and he'd say, "Mike, you're out of the Sumatran rose hips again." A convection oven in, and throughout the day would bake another half a dozen chocolate chip cookies. The place always smelled great. And when I do my workshop, I put in a convection oven and I bake some cookies before we get to this point when I'm telling the story. Everybody's smelling it. Wow, that really smells good. If we could can that, wouldn't that be wonderful? He put a Mr. Potato Head on the service counter. And these guys were playing with toys that were popular when they were 5. He followed that with an Etch-a-Sketch, a Cooties game. Anything that would be at that as seen on TV store, he put it there. They put Christmas lights around the order desk, and then they put them around the sales floor. They brought in a landscaping company that did plantscapes in their concrete and steel warehouse. So as you looked around the place, there was greenery inside the store. They eliminated music on hold and replaced it with comedians on hold. And Mike says the biggest mistake they made was they made the bathrooms too nice. Guys would come in dirty from the job and they go, "Oh, I don't want to wash my hands, I'll leave little droplets everywhere." And so they pulled out the cloth towels, put in a cheap paper dispenser, and lowered the quality of the visit a little. Anyway, the upshot of all of this is they now started bypassing the close store and taking the extra time to come to Rexel because the experience was just that much better. In 18 months, they were grossing $14 million a year, up from $3 million a year when they started this campaign. if an electrical wholesaler can keep his margins up and improve his sales by just making the experience that much more fun, surely whatever it is you sell, you could sell at full margin and never have to cut price. It just takes a little bit of creativity and understanding who your customers are. Questions? Yes.
So is it your argument in the Starbucks case that would have been a better way to go is to have them sell their coffee maker? Don't you lose the loyal person who's now going to make all the coffee at home, and after it pays for itself, they're not going to come back into Starbucks?
I don't think people go to Starbucks for the coffee. Much like Rexel, they're going there for the experience.
It's a social thing.
It's a social thing, and there's also the ability to know the lingo. You're an insider because you know the difference between a venti and a whatever size is. I'm sorry, I don't like Starbucks coffee. Okay, but you have to know how to say half calf, decaf with the blonde roast and whatever size you want, and leave room for cream. And if you're one of the in crowd, you understand all of that, and it makes you feel just a little bit smug. People are not going to stop going to Starbucks because they have a Starbucks grade coffee brewer at home. They'll just brag to their friends, oh, look at this. I can do Starbucks coffee here at home. And then tomorrow they'll stop in their local Starbucks and
spend
get coffee
$4.
again. Yeah.
Or 6 or something.
Or, yeah.
Any other questions?
So you're a consultant that you
Yes.
go around and
I am a marketing consultant. The difference between me and an ad agency is I never handle your money. I like it that way. I've seen an awful lot of agencies run into problems when they're expecting a check, so they take someone that's in the account, pay a bill, the check doesn't come in, and now they've got some real juggling to do. I don't get involved in that. I will negotiate on your behalf with local media, get you the best price I can, then you sign the contract with the medium and they bill you directly.
so speak to the phenomenon of social media and what it's done to your business and what it's doing to our economy.
I'll give you an example that I think better illustrates it. The wife of my friend Jeff Sexton is a professional photographer. And it makes sense to go to Facebook where people come to keep in touch with each other and see pictures of folks they know or only admire because Deanie took the picture. So Facebook is a great place for something like a photography studio to be advertising what they do. Have you ever gone to Facebook and just reacted warmly to a guy who sells furnace filters? It's not a social activity. So social media, I think, works very well for businesses that are focused at social activities. Again, you're talking to the right audience. But I have yet to see anybody sell an automobile on Facebook. They just, that's not why people go there. It's gone. They didn't even notice as it went by. Make sense? Other questions?
I'm a little unnerved by what I heard on Amazon of
Drones?
At some point, drones would just
Yeah.
drop
Did you
your
see
product.
those?
60 minutes.
I want to know if they're going to ring my doorbell.
Yeah.
I like it, but I guess what bothers me is what that's going to do to our community fabric. I mean, you know, you could basically just be inside your house, never go anywhere, never meet anybody, never be with your
Don't
fellow
talk to anybody
citizens.
now. So what's
Before
the
Sam
difference?
Walton died, he did an autobiography. And just a quick side note, I always wondered, are they going to cut the price on this when it stops selling? And then he died, and they got all the books out of the store and sold them at half-price books or whatever it was. But in his autobiography, he said, you know, we can't. Walmart cannot offer service. Just can't. The greeters they used to have there, those people were not there to welcome you. They were there as loss prevention. It's to make sure you didn't walk out the indoor carrying a package of something you hadn't paid for. Walton said, if I knew Walmart was coming to town, I'd learn the names and sizes of every one of my customers. I'd start sending them postcards personally that says, Sam, got some new leather jackets in. I know one of them is in your size. Come and check them out while we still have a great selection. Wow. And that's the thing that they're never going to compete with. If you're a local retailer, you can provide an experience, you can provide contact. Just human contact is worth an awful lot. Yes?
I wonder if that's going to continue though. I mean, not the next 5 years, but 20 years. I was at Thanksgiving this weekend with some young folks, and they make it their thing to go to stores and try on all the jackets and snow boots and skis and this and that, and then they basically put it all on their phone and they run home and they buy it online. And so I mean, is that? I mean, I just see that next generation, that personalization. They're not going to care.
Or they scan the barcode. I don't know the right terminology because I'm old. And then they go to the next store and they scan that one, and then their iPhone tells them where they can get the best deal. I mean, Andy, speak to it. You're young.
I'm not typical.
Online for everything.
I agree. Everybody's doing that. I don't seem to follow that same mold, so I can't speak to it, which I think is good, but I don't understand it either. Everything is off of your phone or your connection today. Where I really see it, and it's in these same lines, is meetings like this. People just don't do the face-to-face anymore. So it's gonna.
This is my new phone, and it does not have the barcode scanner, but I have that feature. And basically, it's this: my own use. I'm not typical. I'll scan it just to make sure. Let me know you're within the realm of competitive, and I'll buy it here because gas is $4 a gallon, and my time is substantially more valuable than the 37 cents I'm going to save by driving 6 miles to pick it up at another place. I'm one of those half of the customers aware of prices, but that's not the single biggest reason I buy something. The other half, 83% of those sales calls, those are the people you're saying, they're all doing it, everybody's like that. It's not, it's about half. And if we can get the message to the other half that we've got something valuable, I'm willing to bet they'll come in and talk to us. Anything else?
As long as their chocolate chip cookies are good.
Yes.
That's how we keep it.
If we're done, let me just tell you I have a website, fishingforcustomers.com. And if you'll give me your card, I'll put you on the mailing list. I have the most unique newsletter you've ever seen. It comes out whenever I've got something to say, which means we've gone months between newsletters, because I can't think of anything more useless than something cluttering up your mailbox every Monday just because it's Monday. And thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming out this morning. It was entertaining and very informative. We do, as a thank you for speaking with us, we donate a book with your name in it to one of the local elementary schools. So
Excellent.
And I venture to guess that our local retailers are going to be okay with that Amazon thing, because if they had tried that drone yesterday,
He would have ended up in Nebraska.
you may not want that.
I'm just waiting for somebody to shoot it down.
Yeah, it'll happen.
Yeah, it absolutely will.
I have just a quick question for the club, because I'm taking over putting speakers.